Alex didn't think. He just moved. The moment he saw the elderly woman's hands trembling uncontrollably, he slipped off his winter coat and carefully wrapped it around her shoulders before she could protest. Snow clung to her thin gray hair, and her soaked sweater was no match for the bitter wind slicing through the bus stop. She looked up at him with glassy, frightened eyes, trying to whisper that she was okay, even though her voice shook with every breath. She wasn't okay. Anyone could see that. His 6-year-old daughter Emma tugged at his sleeve, her small voice barely audible through the storm. "Daddy, she's cold." That was the moment everything changed. Don't just listen, become part of the change. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that can spark hope, challenge injustice, and inspire someone's next act of courage. The day had begun like any other winter morning. Too early, too dark, too rushed. As a single father, Alex was used to juggling exhaustion with responsibility. He had woken up before sunrise, packed Emma's lunch, double-knotted her boots, and still managed to walk her to school with a smile. On most mornings, during that walk to his first job, he passed an older woman sitting alone at the bus stop. Always quiet, always cold, always blending into the background like someone the world had forgotten. He had noticed her more than once. Small, frail, maybe in her late 60s. Her clothes were never warm enough for the weather. Once, she had a bruise on her cheek. Another time, she wiped tears away quickly when someone walked by. Every day, he felt a tug of concern. And every day he told himself, "I don't have time. Someone else will help." But no one ever did. Hours later, after picking Emma up from school, the snowstorm came in fast. The temperature dropped brutally, and by the time they reached the familiar bus stop, the wind was howling hard enough to shake the metal bench. That's when he saw her again. But this time, she wasn't sitting upright. She was hunched over, shaking violently, snow piled across her lap as if she had been frozen there. She looked so small, so breakable, so forgotten. Emma whispered, "Daddy, please help her." And that was enough. All the excuses, all the hesitation, all the uncertainty melted away. He ran toward the woman. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he asked gently. She lifted her head just a little. Her lips were pale, her skin ghost white. "I'm all right," she whispered, even as her teeth chattered so hard it hurt to listen. "No," he said firmly, but kindly. "You're not." He wrapped his coat around her before she could argue. His only coat. Thick, heavy, warm. She blinked at him like she couldn't believe someone would offer such a thing. Emma tugged off her little knitted hat, pink with a pom-pom on top, and placed it softly over the woman's head. "This is for you," she said. "It's warm." The woman's eyes flooded instantly, as if that tiny gesture cracked something open inside her. "My name is Linda," she murmured through trembling lips. I lost my apartment after my husband passed. I tried the shelters, but..." Her voice broke. "It's been hard." Alex felt something inside him split wide. She wasn't just a stranger on a bench. She was someone who once had a home, a family, a life. She was someone's mother, someone's grandmother, a person who loved and was loved that he couldn't leave her there in the storm. "Come with us," he said gently. "Just for tonight. We have heat, soup, a roof." Linda shook her head in panic. "Oh no, I can't trouble you." "Your little girl, you're not trouble," Alex interrupted. "You're cold, and you deserve to be warm." Emma nodded. "Daddy makes good soup." Linda let out a wet, shaky laugh, the first sign of life they'd seen in her. And that was when she allowed herself to lean on Alex as he helped her stand at their small apartment. Alex turned on the heater full blast and warmed up a pot of chicken soup. He found some of his late mother's sweaters stored in a box and offered them to Linda. She held the mug of soup with both hands as if it were a rare treasure. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered, staring into the steam. Alex shook his head. "My mom always told me, if you can help, you help." Linda's lips trembled again, not from cold, but from emotion. "I haven't felt safe in a very long time." Emma curled up beside her on the couch and rested her head on Linda's arm, like she'd known her forever. "You can stay here tonight," she said softly. "Daddy won't mind." Alex didn't mind at all. In fact, something about Linda sitting there, wrapped in borrowed warmth, made the apartment feel fuller than it had in years. The next morning, while Emma got ready for school, Alex made phone calls to shelters he knew, to senior outreach services. to a community volunteer he remembered from years earlier. By evening, he'd found Linda a warm bed in a women's housing program that specialized in helping seniors rebuild their lives with dignity. When it was time for her to go, Linda hugged him tightly. "You saved my life," she whispered. He shook his head. "We just did what anyone should do." She held his face gently in her hands. "Not anyone. Not anymore." Then she kissed Emma on the forehead. "Your heart is just like your father's." A week later, Alex found a small envelope in his mailbox, his address written in shaky, uncertain handwriting. Inside was a single sentence. "Because of you and your little girl, I believe in people again." He read it twice, then framed it, because sometimes the smallest moments, one coat, one hat, one act of seeing someone, can restore hope in a world that forgets too easily. And sometimes, all it takes is a single dad and a 6-year-old child who refuse to walk past someone freezing alone in the cold.